Hey, welcome to Sugar Melts. Today I'm going to work on another manila folder or file folder journal. I gave you a sneak peek the other week of what this will look like. I'm sure somebody else has done this. I haven't seen it before, so I'm not taking credit. This is just another style that I played around with one day and came up with. Let me get these out of the way first. So this one is made with 2 file folders, and let's just go through. I put a pocket in here and a tag, and then you can certainly put more pockets in, but it was just so pretty. When I secured the first file folder to the second one, it actually made a pocket. So here's another tag that I stuck in there. And then I put in a pocket, or you can do a belly band, and made a little top folding notepad. So super pretty, room for lots of pockets in there. And because it's a file folder, it's really sturdy. I mean, you could take this in your purse, you could travel with this, your backpack, and it's gonna hold up. It's not gonna be near as flimsy as just your regular 12 by 12 paper. And then I did another one, and on this one, the difference is I used four file folders. So there's one, you can see by the tabs, there's 2, 3, and then 4. And I used Edith Holden paper. And so this is what this one looks like. So I made a tuck spot here, and it holds quite a few tags. So lots of writing space here. Again, great for a summer gardening journal. Oh my gosh, wouldn't that be amazing? Here's another one where file folder 2 is connected to file folder 1. So there's another tag in there. And then I gave it a little larger of a spine here, about, that's probably 1/4 of an inch, maybe 1/8 of an inch, just enough to put in some coffee dyed paper. And I just did a simple pamphlet stitch there. And then again, another file folder 3 connected to file folder 2. And there's another journal card, nice tall ones. This is I love this style. It just gives so much writing space, so much room for decoration for some of her larger images. And then again, when the last file folder is connected to the third one, you get another journal card pocket. It's plenty of space for another tuck spot here, another card, lots of cards in this one. And then, of course, there would have been room on the back if I'd wanted. So I love how these 2 came out. So today, I'm going to try to remember how I did this. And what I'm going to also do different is I'm going to use 3. So the first one was 2, the second one was 4. This one will be 3, and so the way it will look different is where we have a tab here and a tab here. Now there'll be one in the middle there. And they'll overlap, but that's okay. My gosh, they're file folders. None of us have ever had an evenly spaced file folder yet. That's what we love about them. They're so imperfect and hardy. I just think they're the best. So grab your file folders. These are just, I don't even know where these are from. They might be new, they might not be. Because of the way we decorate, it's totally fine, of course, to use moderately used ones, beat up ones. We're gonna ink them down anyways. My gosh, go ahead and bring them back to life before they get thrown out. So if you have access to a recycling area in your office space, and if somebody's just throwing these out, what a great way to work on your craft without using something new, just using what we already have, which may need a little love to bring it back to life. So here I've got 3 file folders, 3 tabs, all 3 spaces. And if you only had 2 of the front or whatever, I mean, you'll see this, you can make this work with whatever. Because the nice thing, again, about file folders is if you only have access to, say, end tabs, all you have to do is, do like, wow, okay, there you go. Now you've got the other end. So not a big deal. You just flip it over and it will be fine. If you only want to do 2 and you've got a middle one, you do this, it's going to work. Whatever you have, just you can easily make minimal accommodations for it. Okay, before I start folding though, the other things that I'm going to use for this that I'll have along with this, I don't know that I'll use a scoring board, but I'll definitely want my heavy duty machete cutting. This isn't the one where you want the little blade. You want, it's a manila folder, so you're going to need the strongest you have for cutting, and that may be scissors. It's probably too thick for just tearing with a ruler. I don't know that you'll be happy with those results. So a couple things on this one though. I did pull out a bunch of washi tapes for the tabs on these. In the past, I haven't always been happy with just tracing and gluing. Sometimes I just feel like I didn't do a great job with tracing and trimming. So I'm going to try what Lene has done in her videos. She glues paper down and then cuts. I'm going to be securing with washi tape and then trimming. So I'm going to try that approach this time and see if I'm a little happier. Where you will have some of these weird angly cuts, feel free to cut them down if you want, or ink them, whatever you want to do. If you want to deal with it with paper, or you may just want to trim it off. One hesitation I will tell you is in the past, I have not been happy with my corner rounder on this because I think this is just too thick for most corner rounders. Just use it knowing, hey, this may be the last time I use this corner rounder, because I've had to go back through with wax paper and try to do some repair work because it really beat up one of my corner rounders. So just know that's a possibility. I grabbed some coffee dye paper. I'll probably be putting a signature in here. And for the tags, I'll probably have some, I've got like this extra piece here from an old file folder. And I also have some vanilla colored index cards. So they make really nice tags too. So I pulled some of those out. We'll see what happens. I wanted to show you also, before we get going, my latest stash. I went to a new for me, used bookstore, and the way this used bookstore works, and they're all a little bit different, but they do buy back used books. So I took in a load. I would always recommend calling first, because if they have too much, if they're inundated and they haven't been selling much, they may not be buying back in that moment. But I've been carrying these books around all summer in my car. And so I finally took them in and said, here, let me know. And I didn't know if they were going to buy one book back, but they ended up giving me a store credit of over $24. I was super excited. And so that I got to apply those to these books. And it wasn't 100% credit. What they did is a 50-50. So I could apply 50% of the charge off of these. So they still had a little bit of cash inflow. So that's fine. Works for them, works for me. So I got this book called The Wildflowers of California. Look at this beautiful images here. Oh my goodness. I don't know that I'm going to use it on this journal today, but we'll be using this one soon. Oh my gosh, this little poetry in here. I just am so excited about this book. And then my friend with me, she found this book. I thought, oh my goodness, I can do some stuff with this. Look how beautiful these images are. So this is another one that what a great find. I mean, I've never even heard of this book before. And it's just, I can do so much with this. Oh, super fun. And then lastly, another book that I wasn't expecting to find, but it just, with the font in here, the way this is written, it just screams Edith Holden. And it's got these beautiful art images, very subtle, like charcoal drawings. So this is another one with all this beautiful font that will be really fun to play with and use. So when I go to these used bookstores, if you haven't tried this before and you're thinking, hey, I'm going to check this out, I call first just to make sure, because they're usually a one-off, like privately owned small businesses. Their hours may be a little funky. The owner may, who knows, just have another job even. And so they may not have your normal 8 to 5, 7 days a week. And so check the hours, see if you want to bring some in, ask about their buyback policies. Do they buy every day? Do they have limits? Most of them have some kind of limit of how many per day, what days of the week they're staffed enough to take care of these things, or if only one person knows their stock to do it. Just check ahead so you're not lugging books all over the place. And then when I figure out, you know, they've got the books, they're figuring it out, and I go look for what I want to select, my favorite areas to look in the store, in case you're interested. So I love to go to foreign language. I think that makes a really pretty script in the back. If you can find like a beautiful book of French poetry, oh my gosh, that's beautiful. I also love regular literature. So I've used Shakespeare plays for some of my backgrounds, tear down some of those old paperbacks. I go to nature. There's a couple different sections of nature. So like Edith Holden books, for example, never quite know what section she's going to be in. So if you can't find her, it may not be that she's not there. They may just put her in a different category than you expect. So I always ask. And then I like to also go along with nature and art, literature, foreign language. I check on the children's sections because I love the Beatrix Potter. I think those rabbits images, the stories, and the drawings make great journal covers also. So that's just my take on how I approach a used bookstore for the purpose of journaling. Okay, so let's look at this and let's see if I can remember how to do this. So what I did, I think I did this last time because I don't want it the full length. I don't want it that tall. So I'm going to bring it down. So I think what I did was I lined up these two just as two tabs here. So let's just get these kind of right there. Let's just use my grid here and get this all as straight as a file folder can get, which is not always very straight. And I'm going to put these tabs so that it looks like it's just two tabs on here. See how I did that? Does that make sense? So they're pretty close together. And that's kind of what I did here. Actually, these are a little closer together. So maybe I'll just bring this right to there. That looks pretty good because I'm going to have the third one on this. And so I've got these two marked. Okay, so now I'm going to mark them because I'm going to cut off this end over here that's hanging over, and then this piece from the bottom one. Okay, so let's just start with that. And I like to use a brown pencil, watercolor pencils, whatever, even a marker would be fine. But that way I know that, let me start with this, let's do it this way. That way I know that it's going to blend. So if there's anything that hangs over when I go to trim it, it's gonna blend in with when I ink, because I'm going to ink all the edges on here to probably a vintage photo or maybe walnut stain. And so then let me bring this right to here. See that marker then? That's going to be my marker, the little pencil mark there. Let me just push these up here. Make sure that's right on the edge. And then I know exactly where to bring that. Okay, so that's perfect. And then, now I haven't done this before. So let's, okay, that works out pretty good. So between these two, so this is at 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 inches. Okay, that's 8 inches. And maybe a little shy of 8. And this tab is right at about 1, 2, 3, right at 4 inches. Okay, so that's going to be really easy to do, won't it? So I can just put it, is that kind of in the middle? Let's see. Okay, let me bring it down here. That's hard for you to see, I'm sure, because it's hard for me to see. So let's see. What I want is, I think that's going to be good right there. That's the middle. 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, so let me get all these even again. get everything spaced. And then I'm gonna mark on this notebook, okay, on this folder. Let me put this right there, and then right there. Okay. We'll see if this comes out close to right. I don't know. We'll see. Let's go chop. Let me get my cutter. Oh, we'll see. Okay, so this was the end tab. And you want to make sure you're using your flat surface against the end so that you're not cutting unevenly. And let's just, for giggles, see where this is ending up. So this is just after 20 centimeters, just before 8 inches. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and cut it at 8, because that way if I need to cut, and that's like a 20 and a half, I think those are centimeters. That's a nice even spot for me to calculate with all the others. And again, I can ink right over that pencil mark. That will not be seen. Okay, so here's another one. So see how I said you want this end against it? Okay, so what we're gonna do, I just had the pencil. Here it is. Okay, so what I wanna do is I wanna mark on the opposite side too, just so I can see really well. That is at, okay, come on, cooperate, right at this line here. That's that line. So if I flip it over, let's get it at the same exact line. Nope, I gotta do it this way, don't I? Hang on. Let's do the math here. Okay, we're just gonna get it to 8 and see what that looks like. Let's just go to 8, Lori. Don't complicate things. That was why I did 8 to begin with. Okay. Okay, so that's a little bit, that's pretty close. 8 inches. Okay. So if I put these two together, let's see what that looks like so far. Okay, so that's fine. And then this one is going to go in the middle of them. So if I cut there, so there's 8. That should be perfect. Okay, so get your blade all the way up, Lori. And there we go. Okay, see, I shouldn't be doing it that way. Flip it over. I want to see it, but I can't, and then it will be an uneven cut, and I will not be happy. So I got it at 8, right at 8. Okay, so what our layout basically, okay, so I can flip these around and you can turn them inside out. It's all good, whatever angle you'll ultimately want. Now we're gonna mess with it. It won't be this wide, but you can see now we've got 3 tabs. That will be so cute. Okay, I don't think I'll need this right now. I'm gonna move this so we can fold. This is the part, I don't remember how I did it. Let's see what I did. Okay, so this first one here, let's see what I did. Okay, so basically it was folded into 4 parts. So there was 1 part, 2, 3, this is the middle, and those were glued together, and here's the outside. Okay, so let's see how I did that. Okay, so I think something like this. Maybe, Lori? Is this what you did? Do you remember? No, I don't remember, Lori. This. Okay, so I'm just going to go with this. And I'm folding that down. I'm going to commit. Hopefully you like this. And then bring this up. Line on the sides, make sure they're even. Yep. I'm just doing this without even a ruler. I'm totally winging this. This is not how most people would do this. There's a reason. Okay, give myself a little bit more room there. Get on that edge. Okay, it's on the edge. We're committing. Burnish it down. Okay, so whew, there's our first one. And so I'm not going to worry about a couple little wrinkles because, again, we're going to ink this. We're going to decorate it later. Okay, one. These will be probably glued together, but you could make a top pocket. You could do lots of things with that. And then 3. Okay. Whew, that wasn't terrible. So let's go ahead. So here's the remaining inside. I'm going to bring this up. And that fold, I'm going to utilize that fold mark right up into that corner there. And then come down. Okay, everything looks close to even. And you know, if you have your scoreboard, this would probably be a good time to bring it out, and you could score here to bring this last flap up, or you can be like me and just kind of wing it. Let's see here. I'm going to bring it up a little bit more. This will probably be the pocket that I secure to the first one we just did. So I'm not terribly worried about it being exact because it's just going to be a pocket anyways. But, you know, if you are going to assemble yours a little differently, you might have liked to score it. So that's close enough. So here we go. So there's what we got. This will open here like this. Then we'll have these two will be together as one eventually. These two will be secured, or again, a top fold or something. Got this one. So now we're going to do our last one, which will also be basically glued, hinged to this one in the form of a pocket. Okay, coming together. Here we go. So bring up, utilizing those score lines that are inherent in, I think, every file folder I've ever seen. Okay, check your corners, check your sides. There we go. And so even though this side is going to be a little smaller, it's just a little shorter than this page, that works really well for the pocket because then you can see that it's a pocket when you're using it. And actually, one of the reasons I like this design, well, I was like, oh, this actually helps to see where those pockets are. Don't have to force it, you know, it just comes together. Okay. There we go. So 1, 2, there's 3 where they come together, and then 4, and then 5 where they're coming together, 6 and 7. That's great. The other thing we can do in here is we're probably going to, before we start gluing everything, before we glue, don't glue too fast, calm down. Before I glue, I'm going to ink everything because it's really hard to ink this if it's glued to this. And anytime there's going to be this pocket, like this will be a pocket here, I'm going to make sure I decorate this inside first because once it's glued, it's really hard to get paper in there and it just becomes a sticky mess. So I don't glue right away, I just kind of hold back a little bit. If you want to do some corner rounding, this is a good time to do that before you ink, because like this one where it was cut, you know, but just be aware that your corner rounder might be mad at you afterward if you do that. Get your favorite ink out to ink, start thinking about how we're going to decorate. Oh, that's what I wanted to say. So on a page where there may not be a pocket, so like back here at the end, what I may do at some point, I haven't decided which page yet. We got a little bit of time. Think about if you want to expand the spine somewhere, like I may do it here. This seems like it's like on your, especially if you folded and you're not really happy with the fold, if one of the tabs is a little larger, go in there and make that spine like 1/8 of an inch. Just give it a little bit of a crease in there. use your scoreboard, and we'll be able to put a signature or a little notebook in there. Just give yourself a little bit of wiggle room for, you know, adding that paper, that bulk, because there'll be some bulk with that signature. So just think about that before we start gluing and stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and ink all this up, and I'll be right back. Thanks. Hey, I'm back. So during the break, what I did was I inked all the edges all the way through, even where I thought I would fold. And I usually go ahead and ink that just because I change my mind sometimes. And I thought, oh, you never know quite how it's going to end up. And I didn't want to accidentally glue it and not have it inked the way I wanted it. The other change, now I know I had originally planned to do all 3 tabs like that, but this middle tab, I really like this pocket or opening that this will make. So I decided I'm going to use the middle tab file folder first, then the top tab, and then the bottom tab. So that will work really well. So if you're following along, the next thing to think about, again, just take a look, fold them, flip, flop them. You may notice if you're not real happy with where your marks are, think about just refolding it, flipping it backwards, and sometimes it's pretty easy to hide it that way. Okay, and then I also grabbed this old paperback by Thomas Hardy, and I thought some of these pages might look nice inside for some decoration. I grabbed this stack of papers here. Not sure what's in that. And then I've got a box that I keep lots of scraps in. So yeah, so here we go. Let's see what happens. So the first thing I want to do is I want to decorate anything that I think will be a pocket. So if it's the inside, just so that even if I end up not using it as a pocket, but that way I'm not trying to shove glue paper inside of a closed pocket. That is just a nightmare. So let's look at the first one here. So this one here, so this page, and then the back page will probably be secured to the second file folder. So I want to do this front one here and the back of this first, just so that I'm sure I've got them in here. The other thing to think about when you're gluing your papers down, before you start gluing whatever paper, if this is going to be the inside where you're shoving a tag or whatever, journal card, you want to make sure that the seam is flush. Because if you've got more than one paper and it goes like this, over time, even if it's glued, it's just going to wear at it. So make sure that everything is going this way and that it will never, you know, get hung up on anything as much as you can. So let me just flip through here, and most of this will probably be covered, so I don't have to be terribly picky about what page I pick. That might be good for the back side though, because I do like that font. So I'll save that one for the back page. And then, oh, that's fun. That will be pretty then if I decide I don't want to seal up the pocket. It's still a beautiful image there. Okay, so let's start with this one here. And, now this paper, I think I've talked to you about this before. This paper is like, oh, it's barely a step above tissue paper. So if you're using something really fragile, inking is beautiful, but gosh, be careful because it can tear so easy. Oops, my light went out. I had a light over here. Guess it got dark really fast. Sorry about my arm in here. I'm trying to get my light back on, and for some reason it just went really dark. There we go. Okay. Can you see now? I hope that wasn't too dark for you. I don't know what you've missed. I'm so sorry. Okay, so, and then a lot of times I have to go, I kind of flip some things upside down just to get a better sense. Okay, but I'm going to use my ruler and just give it a torn edge. So I'm going to line that right up where I want it, right up on the edge. And again, you're working with a file folder here, so not too many straight lines other than the ones we make in them, and that's okay. This doesn't have to be perfect because it's probably going to be a pocket. Probably. So I'm going to go ahead and take a chance that that's what I'm going to do and glue this down. Okay, let's get some glue in the center. It doesn't have to be too much glue, but just enough so that it get a nice seal without too much seepage. We don't like seepage. Okay. That just, like tissue paper. My gosh, it just clung right to it before I was ready. Okay. There we go. Okay. And then I'll put a little something down here. Let's see what I've got in this magic box here. My glue covered for now. Oh, lots of paper in here. Let's see. Oh, those would be pretty, wouldn't they? Maybe I'll use that. And then I'll only have one more in here, so I guess I should keep that out. Maybe two more. Oh, we'll see what happens. Maybe I'll use those. Oh, I like that paper. Probably use that on something. This might be good for the pocket. It's got that kind of purpley hue. Is purpley a word? Purpley is not a word. It's not a word, Lori. It's not a word. So I do just love coming down to my craft space. Even if I don't have a plan, I usually don't have much of a plan, to be honest. But something always comes to me, or something I want to work on, something that needs to be cleaned up, something I can get ready for another project. You don't have to finish anything. It's all about being creative. It's so important to be creative. So important to feel like we are expressing something unique for ourselves. I love the process. I love the learning new techniques, learning why things work the way they do, learning about colors, about paper, how people use their journals, where they, acquire their supplies, how they got into it. I think all of it is so important. Okay, let's get it right to the edge, but not too far over, because this is pretty frail paper. It's really thin, so it wouldn't hold up against a lot of pressure. So this way, when it's closed and I'm sliding something in, it's really not gonna, it might affect this a little bit, but it's not gonna have a piece of paper over it that it's gonna keep snagging on. So that should be fine. And I'll probably end up gluing that down here in a few minutes. For this tag, we can do that in a little bit. Let's talk about the back here. So this will also be a pocket. So I don't want one of my more favorite images to be completely covered up. And there also won't be a lot of it that's showing. So the other thing I think is important when I'm doing this is I get that out and see, there's just not much showing there. So I want to make sure that whatever I use, like this would probably be good. I could trim off this part and then I'll have the nice font. So that's what I'll use here. Okay. Oh my gosh, paper everywhere. So let's line this up and get a straight line. If you've got a mat with grid lines, boy, this is just perfect for this kind of project. Just takes all the guesswork out of measuring. Okay. I'm getting ready to take a vacation. I'm going to use one of my journals. So excited. It's such a great way to record the memories of each day, the things that you think, oh, I'll never forget this, but gosh, you do, because you're just making more and more memories. So for this, and I've got this weird corner up here, they always drive me crazy, because I'm not really good at cutting around those corners. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it right to the edge, draw it, trace it, and then I'll cut it. But honestly, I'm just not very good at doing it. It's just, I'm just not, they just don't end up looking as perfect as I plan, as I hope. So let's just do a little bit of trimming. Okay, so then, yikes. Okay. Oh, I'm working on the wrong, am I working on the wrong one? I think I am. I am working on, I was working on the back of this. No, there. Oh, I traced the wrong one. Well, I guess we're going to save this for another page. I guess you're going to end up going in here. Okay. Well, that's okay too. That's okay. That's what happens. I get a little backwards, but that's actually going to work out really well. I guess I'm meant to have this show. That's fine. We'll just find another paper. No harm, no foul. It's all good. Here we go. There. Okay. So we're committed to that. Oh. Okay. I just got turned around there on which folder I was working on. That happens. I've been known to number them because I'm going to cover it with paper anyway, so there's no harm in just putting a number on it, because otherwise... Oh, is that going to fit then? I did. It's going to fit there. I guess that's what we're doing. Plan B. How about that? Maybe it's D. Are we up to D yet? I don't know. That's okay. Just get some glue on here. Don't need too much. Just enough to seal those ends without having it seep out. Okay. La la la. But that's what you do when you're crafting in your own space. It's a nice time to be imperfect and to be okay with imperfect, right? I think so. Be okay with it. Okay, so I guess that's where I messed up. Because these two are going to get glued together. So I need something back here. Oh, that really is pretty. But I lose so much of that pretty paper. I'm just not sure I'm willing to sacrifice that whole page. This might be a better page because I'm not really partial to it. Just keep looking till you find the image that you want. And the nice thing with this one too is because of the way the pocket is, I don't need to cover the whole thing. In fact, it's probably better if I only do but maybe a half sheet. And so then I don't have to commit to a whole page that I'm losing. So now I did use my corner rounder on these. I did try, as you can see, and we'll see if I did permanent damage. Okay, that time it's not mad at me this time. So I'm going to go ahead and tear this page in half. So I won't sacrifice the whole page to this inner pocket. And we'll just tear right along there. I line my ruler up with my grid lines, so I know I'm getting a straight line. Just a little bit of ink, not much. Maybe I'm the only one that'll know, but I'll know. I'll know if it wasn't inked. Okay. Here we go. Let's get this. So this will be the inside of that pocket, just so that it's just easier before you start assembly to do that. Yeah, I had the best time in that used bookstore yesterday. Such a great find. I'd intended to go to another one, but we happened to be in this a different town, And I knew this bookstore was there, but we pulled up and it was just this tiny storefront. I thought, oh, for heaven's sakes, what am I doing here? And then we went in and went around the corner inside, and phew, it was massive. It was huge. The store was so big. I want a little something down there. I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my gosh. So don't judge by appearances. Get inside the store, see what it looks like, because boy, was I surprised. I was really impressed. It was so much bigger than I thought it would be. So I like to go to used bookstores also when I'm traveling, especially if it's a road trip and I've got a little more time and more space in a car. It can be heavy if you're, oh, I should have corner rounded that. That's okay. That might be under the pocket. Might not show quite as much. See, I could peel it up, but that's okay. We're just going to live with that. So it happens when you're talking and recording at the same time. That's okay. So I'll go ahead and show you. So I'm going to glue these together here, and then I'll glue this top pocket down, and then we'll keep moving forward with that third one. So yeah, when I'm traveling, I like to pop in and see if there's anything really special, particularly special. I love those art sections, nature sections, looking for, you know, those vintage yellowed papers. Also looking at the price because I want it as cheap as possible, since I'm just going to be probably tearing it up. So I don't want to spend a lot just to tear it apart. But boy, it helps if you've got books that you can exchange and get some store credit. That I was pretty excited to offset the price, let me tell you. That was nice. And then you feel like you have a little more flexibility if there's a book you really, really want, because sometimes they can be maybe a little more than you want to spend, but it's nice when you can find a bargain like that. So I'm going to do both the top and the bottom on this, but you know, you could leave it open if you wanted. You don't have to close this one. I just loved this look when I started playing around with it. So there's that. Give that just a second to dry. And then we can start working on our third. So which may be this one here. Let's get our third file folder here. So yeah, I'm going to glue that to there. Oh, that looks really cool, doesn't it? Oh, I could have done something more with that, I suppose. That looks really good. I'm going to cover this up. That was my pencil mark. I'm going to make sure that's covered up really nicely. So let's see what we've got in the ways of papers. That's nice. I like that. I'm not really crazy about the girl, but I could cut this off and have this poetry on there. Ooh, maybe this one. Then I could just cut it in the middle and put that on there. Oh, I like that. Oh, see, I don't even know where this paper came from. No idea. I bought from several different companies. Sometimes I buy off of Amazon, but I've bought from Paper World was one of them. I don't know. I just find these companies. Or they find me. I'm not really sure how it happens exactly. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4.5. So let's do right about there. Okay. Then this time we will corner around. This time. So, and a lot of these things, even between the inking, between the collaging of your papers, and then once you put your cards in there or signatures, whatever all that's going to look like, in most of these, see, that's going to cover that up and you won't hardly see any of that. In fact, I'll just sort of improvise a little bit, add a little more pen to that, and put a little more ink on it, and it just, it'll blend right in. Okay, here we go. Let's see here. But this, yeah, I hadn't thought about doing 3 file folders, and it just sort of thought, well, you know, that's kind of how they come in these packs. Maybe I can make it work. And so then I decided to do that, and then flipped it over and changed it all up. But that's what we can do, especially when it's our own. There's no rules here, or very few. More just recommendations. but definitely no hard and fast rules. So I want a little something up there. Let me just do a corner rounder on that. Trim this off a little bit. Ink it. I think this will work just fine. Don't like that stark white paper, do we? Oh, that's going to work just lovely. Just like that. What do you think? Like it. I like it. I like it. I like it. Okay. Yeah, so we've got a trip coming up. What I do, what I have been doing this year since I started making these journals and traveling with them, so I don't have to lug along a massive, my regular journal. It's just too big. And I can't take it with me in my purse. It's just too much. But having these small ones, I can throw my receipts in there and write down later what restaurant we went to, what we had for dinner, especially if it's a special occasion or we had something special or unique. It's just a lovely way to remember what a wonderful time we had. Oh gosh, I hardly even want to tear that. I may say that for a full page. But it's just, oh, that works good. Such a lovely way to remember everything and without feeling pressure while you're doing it, because your vacations can be so busy. And it's just a great way to keep notes. But I also use it as I prepare for my trip. So if I'm going someplace, especially if I'm going someplace that I've never been, I want to know what restaurants are close by. What can I walk to? Let me put this one under me while I do this. You know, what's close, what's open for breakfast, what closes early, what's someplace that's been on, you know, diners, drive-ins, and dives that I want to be sure and check out, all those kind of things. So I do a lot of Google reviews of restaurants before I go places. So is that gonna fit? That's gonna fit. That'll work. And it's so lovely to have them on the tags, and then as things change, I can make notes. Years ago, I went on a safari, and it would have been great if I had been doing these journals at the time. I could have written down all the animals I saw every day, because I was using my phone. Most people probably do anymore. The problem I have when I use my phone is that sometimes it autocorrects. Sometimes it doesn't save. Or if I try to use an abbreviation, again, it autocorrects it. And so by the time I get back, I don't remember what I was trying to record. It doesn't work. So that hasn't always been really easy. And plus it's, I don't know, there's just the manual writing is such a lost art. Your own personal handwriting. I lost my parents a few years back, and anything that's handwritten is so much more special. My mom had a lot of recipe cards, but the ones that I cherish are the ones that she hand wrote herself. Some of them are, you know, typed or from magazines, but the ones that are really special are the ones that where I can see that she wrote them out. Ooh. And so that's something just to think about as you're deciding whether or not you want to handwrite it, or ooh, I like that. How you want that to be recorded. Gosh, that's pretty. Maybe I'll just cut this one kind of in half too and lay that over the top. What do you think? I think we're doing this. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's go here to 3. 1, 2, 3. Line that up. Okay. So I got new brushes, new ink pads the other day. I had made the mistake, and so in case you all have done this, I tried to get the ink to replenish my ink pad, but twice it wasn't the ink that they sent me, and maybe it was my mistake, probably was, but they sent me the stain and not the ink, and so that did not work out really well at all. So if you're looking to redo your ink pads, just be careful what you're buying. So here I'm gonna trace this again and trim this down, these corners, because I just haven't found an easier way that I'm happy with yet. So now just be careful when you're buying it to make sure it says the oxide, ink oxide versus stain, because it's the same color pattern. It'll say gathered twigs or walnut or vintage photo, you know, all of our favorite Tim Holtz ones, but or Ranger, I should say, Ranger. And why is this not coming up? Suddenly you're just not cooperating with me. What is happening? Okay, so I gotta tear more of this down. That's okay. So yeah, I had to like really pay attention. Like, why am I keep ending up with this wrong product that I don't want? What is happening here? So just pay attention. Don't do what I do. Don't make my mistakes. Hopefully somebody is learning from my mistakes. So I was like, why is this so runny? Oh, because it's not ink, it's stain. You know, those spritzers that you can have, which I'm also thinking of using on what I almost used it on this while we were on the break earlier. I thought, well, that might just be a little crazy. We'll see. So I'm lining up my papers here. Here we go. Nice and flush. Okay. So that's going to go like that. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to glue this down now. Oh my gosh. Lori, what have you done to your workspace? So I'll glue those down. And I've said this before, you always want to be sure to glue on your shorter sides, not your longer sides, so that your glue doesn't get all, you know, beyond your borders there. So this way it kind of keeps you in check. And then I run a small bead, but then I go back over with the tip to make sure it's not too dense, not too thick. Get it nice and smooth. Okay. And then let's line that up. Press that down. Okay, so we have our first pocket here. And we're going to glue, I'm going to probably glue that down in the back there. Our second pocket here. We'll glue this together so that's not wide open. There's a seam here, so this is where the signature can go. Our pocket in the back, and then we'll glue these together. Now that the inner pockets have all been secured. That makes sense? Okay. So let's glue these two together. And if you wanted one of those reversible type journals that open on both sides, I mean, that's what this could do. Just don't do what I'm doing here. Or if you wanted to leave it open as a pocket at the top or on the sides, just think about that before you start getting happy with the glue. Pay attention. And then let's glue these two together. Okay. Okay. Okay, we'll finish that up here in a second. Okay, so our signature, and then this will be our last one that we can glue here. What you think? I think it looks great. Okay, so now all we're going to do is decorate our pages. And then, oh, and you want to go through, see that's a little, it's not laying real flat. It's because of the way I glued that, because it's 3 pieces basically. So just go through, especially while the glue is still a little moist, and stretch it. Just stretch those fibers a little bit. Doesn't have to be a lot, just enough so it's going to lay flat. See how that works? Just keep stretching it, giving it a little bit of tension in there. So the glue, see, now it's perfectly flat. Okay, so there's one. There's your second pocket. We should probably just go through and do it with all of these just to be sure. Okay, that lays flat. Then this one, see, here's another one. The other side of that pocket. And this will be where we're going to put that signature. See that little 1/8 of an inch in there? Okay. And then there, so another one, let's just stretch that just a little bit, not too much. And then our back page. Perfect. Awesome. This is coming together really nice. Okay, I'm going to take a break, and then when I come back, we'll finish decorating. See you soon.